So we are going to talk about the branch instructions once again. So in this lecture, we will try to look at the branches from a different viewpoint. So far we looked at the code with the branch instructions and we tried to evaluate the condition for branches to see whether the branch is making or not, right, using the flags. But here we'll look at the branches from completely from a different direction. So remember, all the branches that you see in the programming, they have some reasons for the programmer to use, okay? Because the programmers actually have something in their mind, and that's why they actually pick some specific branch over the others, right? So what I did here is I actually gave you a list of all the branch logical descriptions. So we actually have the very small, brief, plain English description in the column 2 of our instruction set. But that description is so brief that sometimes it's hard to understand it. So that's why I elaborated those descriptions here a little bit more so that we understand also the branch instructions from the plain English viewpoint, meaning what might be the reason why we are using this branch other than the other one. Okay. So in this lecture, even after this one, anytime if you need any description of the branch, you can always come here and look at this slide because it has pretty much all the elaborate descriptions of pretty much all the branches that we have in the instruction set. Now, let's look at a couple of descriptions which we actually will need to understand here um, to see whether we can understand, just like a programmer, that how we use the branches. For an example here, let's say we are given 3 lines of instruction. In the first line, we are loading a number into accumulator A. In the second line, we are subtracting the number from number 1. We are subtracting number 2 from number 1. Now, in the third line, we will be using a branch with a label called safe. Now, can we select a branch from the following list such that the branch will always make when the first number, meaning the number 1, is positive, second number is negative, and the difference and the difference, because we are doing a subtraction, right? The difference is also negative. Now think about this situation. At this point, you do not know what is the number 1, right? What is the number? You don't know it. You don't know what is number 2 either, okay? But you know a little bit of description about the numbers. What description you know? You know that num 1 is positive. You know that num 2 is negative, and the sum is, the difference is negative. Now from this information, can we find one branch from the list at the bottom which will always make in this case? Now, think about the situation a little bit differently. What we know this, that we are doing a subtraction and the first number is positive, second number is negative, difference is negative. And we are doing a subtraction. Now from here, from this information, we can definitely tell that the V flag will be set here, right? Do you see this? Because this is one of the conditions for the V flag to be set in case of subtraction, right? So we can at least tell that the V flag will be set after this. Even if we don't know the number 1, we don't know what is number 2, we don't know the difference. Now from this information, can we select one of the branch from the bottom? From the list, which will always make. Now remember, in this case, we may have more than one correct answer in our list, okay? But to make it a little bit easier for you, when you go to the quiz section, you can actually select only one out of the list, and you will get actually 100%, as long as you select one of the correct choice. So you don't have to select all of the correct ones. You see what I'm saying? This is this is a little bit of exception because I try to make it a little bit easier. So even if you have more than one answer, I try to make it a little bit easier. So it's possible that you and your classmate may have different choices, but the both choices got the 100% correct because both are the correct answer. Now, from this standpoint that the V flag is set, we can probably find a flag, the branch from here. We also can tell something else. Can you tell about any other flags? You may not know all the flags, but I'm just saying, we know about the 4 flags. Can you tell the status of any other flags except V? I think you can tell also about the negative flag, right? Because the difference is negative, right? So the negative flag is also set. What else? You can also tell Z flag, because since we said the difference is negative, that means difference is not 0, right? So the Z flag is almost like 0, right? Look at this, we almost know like 3 flags out of 4, right? So, and that will really help us to understand which branch we should use before save, which will always make. Look at the first one, BMI. What is the condition for BMI? The n equals to 1, right? So that is, looks like it will always make, right? So BMI is one of the correct choice. So let me show you all the conditions. I actually listed all the conditions here so that you can see what are the conditions. As you can see, BMI will always make, right? BNE will always make as well, because 0 flag will be cleared. And BVS will also make. So in fact, there are 3 correct choices out of 4, right? Out of 5. Which will make. And in your case, when you will be working on your quiz, all you have to do is just select one out of the list, which is correct, and you will get the whole credit. So now, instead in this quiz, we are doing a little bit different thing. We are just trying to understand the branches from the plain English description, instead of just giving the more the mathematical or scientific expression, right? This is the reason why we are doing it. Remember, when you actually will be doing programming or correcting or troubleshooting, what happens? As a technician or as somebody from engineering tech, you will understand the programming better than any other majors. But the problem is, how can you explain it to them? I'm saying you cannot use those engineering terms to explain it. You always have to use the plain English to explain it and make it easier, as easy as possible. And that's why you also need to understand how do you translate from plain English to the programming notation, right? I'm saying syntaxes. So that's why we are trying a little bit here. So let's try another example. It's a pretty much similar example. We are loading a number in accumulator A in the first line. Second line, we are adding the number 2 with number 1. In the third line, we'll be using a branch. Now again, can you select one of the branch out of the list at the list given below, which will always branch when the first number is negative, second number is negative, and the sum is positive, because this time we are doing an addition. Now from this information, can we find something? So now this time we are doing an addition. We are told this, the first number is negative, second number is negative, but the sum is positive, right? What else we can tell from here? Meaning, can we tell about the flag? And as you can tell, the V flag is definitely set. 0 flag is definitely clear, right? Because the answer is positive, right? 0 is neither positive nor negative, right? What else you can tell? Can you tell anything about N flag? You can always tell about the N flag, right? Because the N flag is 0, right? Because the sum is positive. Can you tell anything about C flag? Think about this situation. If you ever have these, that you are adding to negative number and your sum is positive, you will definitely have a carry. You will definitely have a carry, okay? So you can even tell about the carry flag, that the carry flag will be set. So you pretty much know all of the flags. Think about this, is really interesting. It's a very small information, but from here you can pretty much find out all the flags, even if you don't know the numbers. Okay. Now from here you can select one of the branch. So as you can see, BMI will not make, right, from the list. BLO will definitely make, because C is 1, right? BVC will not make, BVS will make. So we have 2 correct choices. All you have to do in your quiz is just select one out of these 2. You will get 100% as long as you select one of the correct choice. Any question? I'm sure you might have question when you'll be working with quiz, and as you know that we love quizzes. So we just have one single quiz for this lecture, and this is the last lecture and last quiz on branch instructions. but that does not mean that we'll not be using the branch anymore. We will use branch from now in every single quiz, but we'll not talk about the branch in the sense that we already know about the branch. We pretty much talked about everything that we need to know about the branching. Okay, so let me stop this presentation here so that you can try the quiz, which is quiz 14.